Today, we're going to have a look at the ServiceGuru Profit and Loss add-on in ServiceM8. This is a useful tool for viewing your costs and expenses for a job and comparing this to the revenue that you have received to indicate whether this transforms into a net profit or loss. In this tutorial, we'll first look at how this add-on works in practice, and then we'll have a quick look at the settings to see how you can provide your staff access to this add-on. So let's go ahead and open a job card. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we will imagine that we have just completed an air conditioning supply and fit for a customer, and we would like to know whether we have made a profit or a loss on this job when we take into account all the expenses that we have incurred. So if we have a quick look at the quotes and invoicing section, we can see that we have added a line item for the supply and fit of the Cool Breeze 2000 for a value of £2,000. Now let's go ahead and open this add-on to see how we can add expenses. So here we're going to open the ServiceGuru Job P&L add-on from the add-on dropdown, and this will open a new window. Let's have a quick look at all the sections we have in this window. First, we have our expenses section, which we'll have a look at in the moment, as we have not recorded any expenses. Next, we have a timesheet section, which will display all time logged against the job as well as the labor rate. Next, we have a job materials and services section, which will display all the line items that you had added on the job. Finally, we have a summary section, which will display our total job value, our total expenses, which right now we have listed as 0, as we have not added any expenses yet. We have the job gross profit margin, which will list our profits or loss as a percentage. And finally, we have our total job profit, which will display our profit or loss as a value. Now, one thing to note is that all the values displayed are tax inclusive by default. However, should you wish to view amounts as exclusive, you can simply go ahead and click the blue tax exclusive button on the top right here. Now let's have a look at how we can add expenses. So we're going to go ahead and click the green plus button here. This will open a window in which you can insert all the details for expenses that you have incurred. One thing to note here is that code, name, price, and quantity are all mandatory fields as displayed by the red asterisks. Another important thing to note is that any items added in this section will not be added into your ServiceM8 materials and services. Now let's go ahead and add the parking charge that we incurred as we parked our van in a parking site when we went to go do this job. So we're going to start typing in the code box. And as we can see, as we begin to type, the add-on will bring up materials and services that you have listed in your ServiceM8 settings. In this instance, we do not have a parking charge written, so we're going to include this manually now. We're going to write parking. And include our price and quantity. Now that we're happy with this information applied, we're going to click the blue submit button. And as we can see, this has now been added as an expense. Let's go ahead and add another one that we incurred. So this job happened to be in the center of London, where we incurred an environmental charge known as a congestion charge. So let's go ahead and add that now. So this, again, was £20, and we had one of these. And we're going to go ahead and click submit. Now, as we were doing this job, we originally envisioned this to be a 30-minute job. However, as we logged our time, we noticed that this took a lot longer, so this took a total of 3 hours. So we want to log that as an expense in this instance. So in order to do so, we're simply going to click the green expense button here. And as we can see, this has now been added as an expense in our expense chart, which is recorded on line 3. Next, we would like to add the individual expenses that it took for our supply and fit job. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the green expense button to log some expenses against this line item. Now, for the expenses that we incurred for this line item were an indoor unit, an outdoor unit, and a fitting kit. So we're going to go ahead and add these expenses. So we're first going to add the indoor unit, which we can find in our materials. We're going to add our tax information, our supplier, which was power tools, and our invoice number. And we're going to go ahead and click submit. We can now see that the indoor unit has been applied. So let's go ahead and add the outdoor unit. Once again, we found this line item in our materials. We had one of these. And now we're going to go ahead and just add the rest of the information. And we're going to click submit. Finally, let's add our fitting kit against this line item. And in this instance, we do not have this particular fitting kit in our inventory. So we're going to go ahead and add this now. And our price is 150 and quantity. Now that we have added all of our expenses, let's take a look at our summary table here. So now we can see that our expenses have been added. Our gross profit margin is 23%, and we have profited £460. Now what we can do is we can save this as a profit and loss report as a PDF on the job card by pressing this blue button. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that we have the green tick and your expense report has been attached to the job card, we're going to go ahead and close this job and reopen it. And now we can see that a PDF has been added into our job diary. Let's take a look at what this PDF looks like. Now you can see that all the expense information that we had added is noted here, followed by our job materials and services, and our summary table. Now this PDF can be saved, printed, or emailed according to your requirements. So that's it for how to use the add-on. Let's go ahead and see how you can provide access to your staff. So we're going to navigate to our add-ons tab here at the top of the dispatch board. Then going to open the profit and loss add-on. And here, click on the security roles section on the left-hand side. To start with, all users have access by default, but should you wish to remove access, you can simply click the toggle next to the relevant staff member. Please note that business owners will not be displayed in this list, as business owners will always be granted access, and this cannot be turned off. Finally, one thing to note, should you wish to view details on your subscription, update your card info, or to get some invoices, you can do so by going to the billing portal via this your job profit and loss subscription. And that's it for this add-on. We believe this is a great tool for your day-to-day job management, and we hope that you'll enjoy this as much as we do.